Hey there, this is Christine Landl, and I am with my sister, my best friend, my business partner, Jennifer Ream, and we are so excited to be here on yet again another platform that we are creating and another chapter, another piece to our journey.
The Vibe Well Podcast. This is Jennifer Ream. So excited to be here with you guys. Our intention for this podcast is all about sharing our love for all things wellness, holistic wellness that is. And we are here to uplift, plant some seeds, and support you on your wellness journey. We've always loved being able to be out there with our community, sharing all the things that we learn. And as we grow and learn new things, we love to put them out there, and maybe they'll plant some seeds for you and help you along your journey. So here we are. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome back. Feels so good to be here again. It's the new year.
It's the new year.
And actually, one of our favorite times of the year to dive right into health and wellness, because for whatever reason, everyone's just so ready and motivated and excited, or motivated, it's not necessarily the word, but I would say inspired. People are always inspired after the holidays to really dive into themselves. And, you know, a lot of that could be because of what we just often our society puts our body through the holidays. It's pretty...
Yeah, the sugar season.
Yeah. And so I think at that, people just start to feel so heavy after that they're just really ready to dive into it and make some changes. And so, of course, we're going to jump right on that and take a little bit of advantage of all of you who are newly inspired and ready to dive into this. And really what we want to talk about today is how this is a lifestyle and how we make it a lifestyle, and how we personally tackle it on a day-to-day basis, and all the things that we need to do and the tools that we need to have to make this every single day wellness and health, and to stay focused, and how we go about that.
Yeah, I think that's just it. Like, I think that's the message really that we want to share in the new year always is, you know, making it your mindset that this is a choice every single day, every single minute, every single meal. You know, one thing we talk to our clients about is like, it's not about next week. Mm-hmm. It's not about setting, on this day I'm gonna do this. Yeah,
my diet starts Monday.
Yeah. It gives me the cringes just to even think about it like that. Like,
but back in the day when we were growing up, I would say our parents' generation, that is literally what was taught. Like, that's what you do.
The diet mindset. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess we could start there with, you know, you got to lose that word. In that perspective. It can't be the diet word in the perspective of I'm going on this particular kind of diet. It has to be more about like, what is my overall wellness diet? What's my overall nutritional plan all the time? And that is a mind, body, spirit, obviously, for us. That's that is the plan, is all of it, mind, body, spirit. Every single day. Mm-hmm. What am I doing to fuel that in myself? Nutrition, my mindset, the movement of my body, like all of it. It has to be all of it every single day. And it has to be like, for us, what works and what we've seen work time and time again is just shifting the mindset to say, like we just said, I'm not going to start Monday, but if I have a kind of a, you know, if I'm taking that 80-20 rule again, what we've talked about before, and, you know, that 20% I'm indulging a little bit in something, that next meal is starting fresh. Like I'm picking something nutritious. I'm picking some real food to eat. And I'm looking at, you know, what I can to kind of give my body what it needs in the next meal, in the next moment, or the next day when I'm if I didn't work out that day, the next day, like What can I do today to kind of get myself back on track?
Yeah,
So,
because that a lot of times people will self-sabotage because they will tell themselves, well, I already messed up, so I'm just going to keep going. I already had a bag of chips, so I'm going to have another bag of chips. Or I'm going to, I already had a candy bar, so I'm going to have 5 more today because this is like my moment. I'm in it. I'll start tomorrow. I'll start Monday. So yeah, that's
the momentum.
Yeah.
It's
And
all
people,
about that.
and there's something within us that will trigger us to keep going or allow us to keep going in that downward spiral. So
Momentum.
yeah, and so what you're saying and what is so important is to, like, it's okay, have your indulgence, but the next moment, it could be your dinner. It could be your how you're gonna, maybe your dinner was heavy, so maybe have a cup of tea, and that cup of tea is getting you back on track. So it's every moment, make the choice and don't wait for tomorrow.
Yep, absolutely. But there's also when I keep throwing out that word momentum, what I mean by that is we create this like energy as we're making choices. So if we're in this momentum of like really positive flow with what we're choosing for our food and how we feel and how we're choosing to think and all of that, you set yourself up into this kind of energetic momentum that keeps you going. Well, if you can do the opposite too, so you can set yourself up for failure because you get stuck in this really heavier, dense energy that keeps you in that, well, I already feel like shit, so I'm just going to choose this. And I just don't feel like choosing something different, or I just don't feel like making anything healthy. Like those, when you're in that space, you really got to dig deep and figure out, why am I here? Why am I choosing this level of energy to stay in, and know that you can choose differently in the next moment to get yourself up. You kind of like got to build yourself back up. You kind of like got to crawl out of it. Like once you're in it, and you have to shift it, like gradually pull yourself back up into a higher level of vibration.
Yeah, it's a conscious choice.
Yes.
It has to be like a super conscious choice. And sometimes, there's so many different reasons why we stay stuck there. It could be hormonal. It could be cycle. It could be, having a bad day, and so you're emotionally turning to food or whatever your bad habits are. So there's so many different reasons, and all it takes sometimes is to step outside and do a bird's eye view and have awareness around what that could be, and then accept it and be okay with it and no judgment, and just say, hey, I want better for myself, and I want to pick myself out of this low vibe situation, feeling, and choose better the next time. Mm-hmm. So that's how you change the momentum. And the most powerful thing that we can realize is that it's a choice that we have in every single moment. It's not, no one's forcing us. It's not in your DNA to stay in that place of that cycle downward. And you just need to make a conscious effort and choice to
yeah.
forward.
And really that comes down to having the tools, is what we always talk about, having those tools in your toolbox and knowing what works for you. Because what works for you to pull you out of your funk might not work for me.
Right.
And so I know what works for me. Like I know after all these years, like if I'm feeling down or whatever, I know what's going to pull me back out, and I go to those tools. So use your tools in your toolbox, like grow them, always be adding to them, always be experimenting with what works for you, because it does change. As we know, there's times in our life where certain things work and certain things don't. And that can be hormonal, and that can just be in your growth cycle of where you are in life as you're learning different things and expanding your awareness. And so be willing to experiment with the tools and be willing to experiment with your food. So I think that's another big one too.
Yeah. And I think that that for me was a big shift in my awareness, and it was the word experiment. Like, that I feel like is what you can use to replace this whole diet fad anyways. Like I'm on this diet now, or I'm on this diet now. Well, look at it as, there's no one size fits all. So we all know that what might work for one person isn't going to work for me. That's why some types of eating work for some people and other ways don't. So it's really important to look at it as, I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to see how I feel. And but the difference is that you're truly tuning into your body, and you're truly feeling what you're doing, if it's working or not, and the results will come from, this is the way I love to feel, so this way of eating is working for me. And I can pretty much attest to, I've tried every way of eating because that's how I've learned how to heal my own body. Vegetarian, vegan, keto. I mean, all of it. Tried it.
Paleo.
Yeah. And I also have, it's just built in me where it's like a little bit of a drive to, hey, I'm going to try this and see how it works, because this is our work, and my life's passion is around, self-healing and nutrition and food being medicine. And so I'd like to kind of see what works and what doesn't work for me, and to have a little bit of experience around it. But at the same time, I think that's how you don't have to identify with any of those titles or labels. I think it's just important to really see what works for you and doesn't. So for me, for instance, not eating meat for about 3 years, I went through a period of not eating meat. And I just didn't have the energy that I needed. And I intuitively felt like I needed to have some in my body. So I went back to eating meat, and obviously we both are super conscious of the type of meat and the sourcing, as we've talked about in other podcasts. But my point being is that you truly have to just experiment with what it is that works for your body, and know that, and stay open to what that might look like, and really, really tune in to that.
Yeah. And don't put yourself in a box. Don't stick yourself in a box where this is how I am, or this is what I am. Like, no, this is just what you're choosing right now. This is how you're choosing to experiment and figure out what works for you. And that might be changing, and, honor your body in that way, and will get results. That is so self-loving in itself. Like, that is so self-accepting that literally can change your momentum.
Yes, because when you think about the opposite of, or what dieting used to mean, it's complete restriction.
And
it's
a self-sabotage.
Yeah, it's a restrictive mindset.
Yeah.
And so it made it, and then you have like a stopping and starting point,
and that's why it doesn't last.
Right.
It's not sustainable. We've learned that. We've watched it happen over the years with so many people, and especially our parents' generation. And when we were young teenagers, like, that was the mindset. Ooh, you need to do this to lose the weight, or you need to do that. And it's so self-sabotaging. It's so mind-effing. And it's so does not set you up for long-term success and long-term health. That's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
So,
and to be honest, and just like a little side note, like just the scale in itself, like, yes, it can be helpful occasionally, but it just doesn't define anything. And so if you're going off of the numbers on the scale, you really don't need them, because you know how you feel.
Yes.
So if you're feeling super good, you know about where your weight is and what that looks like. But if you're kind of feeling like a little funky, heavier energy, maybe you've got a little bloat going on, you know what that scale looks like. You don't need it to tell you how you're feeling or what you look like. You know it based on how you're feeling. And so I feel like that in itself, occasionally, if you're too fixated on it, can be a mind game.
yeah. And I think that goes back to the whole, like, how I'm feeling is what matters, because you can change the momentum, and you can literally teach your cells, if you have extra fat cells going on, you can tell them to let go just by how you're feeling, because you're like, hey, I don't need the extra weight on. I'm good. Like, I'm good. I'm not starving. I'm not in a fight or flight. I'm, all of those, that stress level, all of that affects the amount of fat that you're hanging on to. A lot of it can be emotional. So you have to focus on how you're feeling, how you want to feel.
And then set the intention if it is that you need to. I mean, obviously, if you need to release some weight, then for your health, it's very important, and it can be a goal and should be a goal. But again, think about it too. There's a play of words around intention, and releasing the weight is such a great way of setting
releasing
that intention.
when I no longer need. Like, you're free to go. I'm all right. I'm going to be okay, and I got this.
Yep.
And I think too, this did not come from me, so I'm not going to take credit on it, but Robin from Peloton, who I love, she's so motivating on the Peloton app, and she always talks about how it's not about being motivated. like there's no such thing. It's about having a purpose. And that stuck with me. The one day she said that, I'm like, oops, pause. I got to write that down.
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
That's so good. So it's like, this is about finding your purpose. Like, what is your purpose for staying healthy and being healthy? Like, do you want to be around for your grandkids, or you want to feel better when you go out for a walk or a run? You want to have more energy, you want to feel just better about yourself. Like all of these, all those are really great reasons to want to get healthy and stay healthy. And so it's about, like, don't think about it as I don't have any motivation. Just think about it. What is my purpose?
Yeah. And I think that that's a great point, especially for those who are just starting. I think it's really important to keep it simple and watch where your thoughts are going, as far as I don't have the time, I don't have the motivation, all of the other excuses that can come up for holding you back. Really kind of focus there. And I think a good starting point would be to journal and to really sit down and talk about what your purpose is, talk about your why. Your why is your intentions. And that's right there, the momentum that you need to kickstart it.
Yep, absolutely.
So start with that, write it down, set your intentions. Whatever negative thoughts are coming into your mind that are going to hold you back, write down the opposite. So take that negative thought and write down your positive intention of where you want to go and where you want to be at. And I think that would be a great place to start if you need to, whether you've been on this journey and you fell off and you're ready to get back on it. Start there. If it's been many years and you feel like you're far from where you want to be, start there. Like you just need to start somewhere, and that's a great place to start, is write it down.
And if you're in a healthy place, like you feel good about, your habits and all of that, we're here to learn and grow. So there's always that next thing that you can grow into, more of who you are. And so that's how I'm always looking at it too. Like year by year, going into the new year, I'm like, okay, what did I learn last year? Like, how did I grow, and how can I grow more this year in different ways? And I'm talking, mentally, physically, spiritually. That is, it's a great time to reflect on that. And really, what do you want this to be about for you this year? Where do you want to see growth in yourself? And where at the end of the year how do you want to feel about that? And so it's all of it. All of it is what keeps you healthy and, feeling good. And that is what creates a healthy and vibrant life.
Yep. And it's that whole mind, body, spirit connection. We talk a lot about the food, and we have on this episode, but it is, like you said, it's all of the other areas. It's personal growth.
Yeah.
It's personal growth in general. And that's the way that I view it. That's my time in the morning. I call it, this is my personal growth time. And this is when I'm setting my intentions for the day. And the morning routine, we talked about that on one of the episodes, if you want to go back and really dive into how to start a morning routine. And, but that part is really important to have a successful lifestyle.
Yeah. Cause you could be great at working out. You can be one of those people that hits the gym 5 days a week, and that's fantastic. Like that is in you already naturally. But what about the other parts of it? There has to be that balance in how am I giving back to myself, with my mental health and my spiritual health, because it's all tied in together. So maybe that's an area, I'm just planting the seed right now, that maybe that's an area of growth for you right now in making your lifestyle a little more balanced in all those ways.
And you can just look at it like, why am I here, and how am I supposed to serve? And sometimes it's just taking that piece, and that's what you're focusing on from a growth standpoint. And so, yeah, it's all,
it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. And it is, it's in, I think that habits that's such a big one that, you have to really create intention around, and
swapping
and crowding out. I think that habits are either good, or they're either serving you or they're not serving you. So the ones that aren't serving you, I think this is an important point to touch on, as to how to get out of those. And I feel like, just cold turkey breaking a habit isn't the easiest for people. So what we always like to say is crowd it out. And so and of course, start small and simple, like do one thing for a month. And until that one has been successfully, that negative habit has been successfully removed from your life, then you don't move on to another one.
Yeah. I had to do this recently, and I'll just share my experience.
Yeah.
Okay, I had an ice cream thing going on, and
yeah.
you know about my ice cream.
Well,
thing.
I can get on. You can get on that roller coaster pretty easily.
It ebbs and flows, but I was finding that I was like obsessed with having it in the house, one, and wanting it at night, like it was my
Like coffee
treat.
creamer?
Yeah,
like obsessed like coffee creamer?
Yeah, I'm not giving that up. So that's not even on the table.
No, that's what I was like. I have that with my coffee creamer.
Yeah, that's equal to what I'm talking about.
Yes,
for sure.
I get it.
Like this was, but I was having, okay, so this is going to lead, we're going to talk about this in the next podcast, which is, I love, but it was leading to, I started studying my dreams. And I was having these dreams that when I looked them up were reflecting my digestive health and cold stuff, which I already know is a thing for me. I'm like,
You've been told that.
Yeah, I don't do well with cold foods. Like my body is better with warm. And so I was like, I really feel like I'm just messing with my gut right now, and it's becoming a thing, and I'm having it every night, and blah blah blah. So I threw it all out, and I just decided one night I'm like, I'm gonna have tea instead. So I switched to tea, and I didn't look back. And it's been like a couple months now, and I haven't had it. And my husband was like, "So what's up with we don't have ice cream anymore? Like I don't get it. I'm like, no, you can't have it either, because if it's in the house, I want it."
Yeah, and that's a great point. There's no such thing as willpower.
No,
I love
come
that.
on now.
I learned that. Her name is, I can see her name is escaping me, but once I heard that, I was like, oh, thank you for saying that. There is no such thing as willpower. Like if you have chips in the house and you can't stop yourself from having 1 or 2 chips, do not have them in the house. And I see that with my kids, like constantly. I said it the other day, and they're like, why don't we have a shelf of junk food like everybody else? I'm like, because you guys would eat it all in one sitting. Like, not doing it.
Yeah.
So we just occasionally bring it in.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, well, I'll have it when I want to have it. Like if I want to go out, or if we're going out, or, once in a while. But now so when it was here and I was having it every night.
You thought about it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I cannot wait for my ice cream tonight. I can't wait for my ice cream tonight.
I've been on this roller coaster so many times. I can't even tell you. And I have thrown away full things after buying them and knowing like I can't stop.
Yeah.
Like
I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is hilarious. So I was like, no, come on, Jen. Like this is getting ridiculous. Plus I just knew I could tell, the next morning by the way my gut was that it was not.
Was that dairy? Were you having dairy?
It was not dairy.
Yeah.
No, because that's how I was justifying it.
Yeah.
I'm having almond milk ice cream, so it's fine. But no, there's sugar in it and other things, and it's cold, and that's the other thing, and like that's part of the experimentation with your body. Like I didn't know that, but once somebody cued me into that, I was like, oh yeah, that really makes sense for me. I don't do well with cold things, like summertime, I can do a little like the smoothies and stuff like that, but like especially right now in the winter, I need soup and I need warm stuff and warm hot tea, and I notice a difference in my digestive health. Like it's just the way my body absorbs the food and stuff. So
and eating at night like that too is
gosh, that's not great. No, for sure. But when that's just the crazy mental thing that happens.
I know. I have that, and it's like I think it starts a lot of times by like hormonal health, like where you're at hormonally, and so you allow yourself that week of eating like that.
Or you think like for us, our diet is so clean, and people always go, "Well, your diet's so clean, you can have ice cream." I'm like, yeah. But not every night. Yeah. Now it's a problem.
Yeah. Well, for sure. When you're thinking about it.
So that's my ice cream story, and it just came to me. I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of relevant.
I don't know anyone who can't relate to that.
Right.
It's
in some street.
Yeah. In some way. Yeah. I mean, it used to be, I remember back in the day, Bobby and I couldn't wait to get the kids down to bed so we could have our bowl.
Oh my God, I remember that.
And granola with raspberries.
I remember that.
Huge bowl of yogurt. It was
like a full meal.
Yeah, it was like Organic Valley dairy yogurt. I had to look back there. I'm like, oh my God. That was before I knew, you guys. So,
Oh goodness. All right.
yeah.
To wrap it up, like what want to leave with some final tips.
Yes. And I feel like that, to make sure that the healthy habits is a huge one. So you crowd it out, like Jen and I just said, you have to crowd it out with something that is going to benefit you and that you enjoy, because there has to be joy around it, and you have to have some sort of so with a hot tea, that's actually one of my favorites to have at night, and switch it up, keep a nice little variety, and go with what your intuition's wanting. And honestly, you'll always feel better the next day when you end your evening like that. But with any bad habit, crowd it out with a good one, and start small. Start with one thing. If you're trying to do an overhaul on January 1st, it's just not sustainable.
No,
and
no.
the other thing that works so well is grab an accountability partner. Grab somebody that, whether they're going to go on this journey with you or not, is going to be able to hold your feet to the fire and keep you going and keep you motivated. It's honestly, as being health and lifestyle coaches, Jen and I, that's one of the key components that works for our clients, is that they need somebody to hold them accountable to what their goals are, and to keep them on track and keep the momentum going. And so that's a great one also to have. And then to write it down and set your intentions, and create some SMART goals. And if you don't know what that is, just look it up. It's out there. And that's a great way to have things so that you can track it and see, where you're at and where you want to be. And as long as you're not obsessing about that, but it does keep you kind of motivated or inspired, and to have your purpose.
Yeah. And to remember that the mindset, even if your goal is around food, which we get so many times in the beginning of the year, it is about that for a lot of people, but don't set yourself up for failure by not addressing your mindset and your perspective around food. Mm-hmm. So start there. Like how do you relate to food? How do you talk to yourself when you're eating something good or bad? Like what are you saying? How are you talking to yourself when you're on the treadmill? Like start there. Like if you shift your perspective and your mindset around your body, around yourself, around your lifestyle, the other stuff will fall into place. You'll naturally have the momentum to make better choices with your food. So if I can leave with anything, that would be it for me. Like set your intention in the morning, pay attention to how you're talking to yourself. Pay attention to what you're saying especially when you're working out. If you're working out and all you're saying is, oh God, I hate how I look in the mirror right now. Like blah, blah, blah. I hate how I feel. Like, if you're doing that, and usually it's unconscious, usually you don't even know that you're doing it until you start to pay attention. You are not doing yourself any good. You might as well get off the treadmill. Or you might as well get off the elliptical, because your body is going to hold on to that fat because it still feels like you need it to survive. Mm-hmm. So you have to have that feeling of loving yourself, accepting yourself where you're at, appreciating that you have 2 legs to walk on that treadmill, appreciating that you have the strength to even do it. Like all of those little things, I'm telling you, will create so much positive momentum and change in your body that it'll blow your mind if you stick with that for 6 months.
Yeah. And I think that the basis of that is that your intentions and your purpose have to come from a foundation of love and compassion for yourself.
100%.
So stick to that when you're setting these goals, when you're setting your intentions from a mind, body, spirit, and soul perspective. It needs to come from a place of love and compassion. And that is how that's how you differentiate it, whether you're dealing with your ego or you're dealing with your soul. And that's how you can sustain the changes. And,
yes.
And
honor momentum. Your journey and honor where you're at. Mm-hmm.
So reach out to us if you need. This is our jam. Like, we are here for you in this way because we personally have been through it, experienced still the same things as you can hear on Jen's ice cream story. But we know how to get out of it, and that is the key. And we hold ourselves accountable to that. And we're all human, and we're all going to be going up and down on this roller coaster. But every single time that we use these tools, you grow in such a way that it's just beyond what you can imagine and how amazing it can be. So reach out to us on our website or through our email, and we're happy to help you. We're happy to be your accountability partners. And if not, we've got a ton of podcasts. Go back and listen to those to start your journey this year. And you know what? No matter what's going on around you in the atmosphere and in our crazy ass world right now, you are you, and you have the control and the empowerment to change your life and stay in your little bubble of
Positivity.
Yeah, positivity and happiness and
Joy.
and pure health and wellness. And you always have that. You can always be striving to be your best self.
We're sending you lots of love. Happy New Year.
See you later.
Thanks again, friends, for joining us today on our latest podcast episode. We love sharing this with you. So please share the love if you feel called to all your friends and family.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on what we're going to talk about next. It's always so juicy.
And of course, you can find us on social, Instagram, Vibe Well Lifestyle, and Vibe Well on Facebook. Love y'all.
And if you're in town, make sure you stop by and see us at Vibe Well too.
Yeah, we would love to see your cute face.
See you soon.
Bye.